Joining us right now is Senator Ron Johnson, a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and Senate Homeland Security Committee. Senator, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here. Before I get to the Pentagon report and what has gone on since the Afghanistan botched withdrawal, I want to get your take on the news of the weekend and this data dump by Elon Musk indicating this massive collusion, which you pretty much predicted with the media end of it anyway. Your thoughts?
Well, good morning, Maria. How many times have I come on your show here over the last 2 to 3 years and talked about how as troubling as the corruption of the Biden family business dealings are, as much that compromise our national security, as troubling, if maybe even more dangerous, is the corruption that we've uncovered in federal law enforcement, our intelligence agencies, as well as the complicit and corrupt media. I mean, those, I think, are maybe even larger stories that really threaten our democracy to a far greater extent. Listen, I appreciate what Mr. Musk is doing here. It's certainly revealing an awful lot about that particular censorship. But, our Senator Grassley and my investigation of Hunter Biden was hampered really as soon as it started, but certainly all through 2020, when we had Democrats cooperating and smearing us and creating false intelligence products, leaking those to the media. The scheme that we now know from whistleblowers that the FBI developed in August of 2020 to downplay the derogatory information, the unsolicited briefing that was given to Senator Grassley in August that was then later leaked to smear me in May and impacted the Wisconsin U.S. Senate election in 2022. This, I've lived this. I've been, on the receiving end of the corruption of the smears. So there is a much, much larger story here than just what's being revealed right now with the Elon Musk's revelations.
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, when I was reporting the truth about no collusion between Russia and Trump, I also got attacked on social media. So what can you do about it? What are you going to do? You're an elected official. We've got a new 118th Congress. You may not have the majority in the Senate. I realize that. But can you do anything about this?
Well, one of the things I'm going to do with each new piece of the puzzle, every new piece of information, we add that to our timeline. And, quite honestly, over the weekend, I've been talking to my staff about, publishing a specific timeline of that collusion that we certainly experienced and, open up that story. We've talked to Congressman Comer and Congressman Jordan. We'll do everything we can to let them know what we know and aid in their investigations, in their testimonies. I'm hoping they actually let us in the room to advise them as they're questioning some of these witnesses, because we have an awful lot of information.
The forces that are working against the truth tellers are enormous. And I keep pointing back to the CCP and the Communist Party, and I want to get your take on the military and whether or not the U.S. is up for this fight against the CCP. It certainly doesn't feel like it in a leadership position. Senator, stay with us. More with Ron Johnson when we come right back. Welcome back. I'm back now with Senator Ron Johnson. And Senator, it's just an enormous story of politicization of these agencies. And I want to get your take on this breaking news that we had this morning. Kevin McCarthy joined me at the top of the show, and he told me that he did manage to convince Joe Biden to lift the mandate on vaccines for the military. That's going to be in the NDAA dropping this week. Your thoughts on what has taken place in the military? I mean, look, the FBI is denying that they have been purging conservative workers. How many people lost their jobs because they wouldn't get the vaccine, Senator?
Well, in the military, I think there's about 8,000 service members. Another 17,000 are awaiting termination on their religious exemptions. A number of senators and I, called on our leadership to block cloture on the National Defense Authorization Act until they do lift the mandates. This would be good news if that's going to happen. But, Marie, this dates back to the Bill Clinton administration as they starve our military of the resources they need and use our military as a social experiment as opposed to, hone our warfighting capability. So particularly in this administration, the current military brass seems to be more concerned about wokeness than they are military readiness. And every American should be concerned about this. I'm concerned that they're missing their recruitment goals, partly because if you're a young man that or a young woman that wants to join and defend this nation, you're not particularly interested in social experiments. You actually want to become a war fighter to defend this nation, defend our freedoms. So I think that's one of the reasons our recruitment numbers are down.
Well, look at the suspended FBI agents who have become whistleblowers. They want answers. They also want to know, will you commit to educating executive management personnel that January 6th protesters did not kill any police officers, Senator?
Well, again, the politicization throughout the federal government, through federal law enforcement, our intelligence agencies, our federal health agencies. It is a deep state, and it's highly partisan. It's radically left, and that needs to change. It first needs to be exposed. The American public deserves the truth.
Well, we're putting a spotlight on it for sure. Senator, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.